Thank you, Mr Deputy President. I rise today to express deep concern over the unfolding crisis at the University of Technology, Sydney, a crisis that is emblematic of a broader malaise afflicting our higher education sector. Recently, UTS announced plans to cut up to 400 jobs, academic and professional staff alike, as part of a $100 million cost-cutting drive. These are not just numbers, these are livelihoods. These are educators, researchers and professional staff who form the backbone of the university. Yet while staff are being shown the door, the university has seen fit to spend nearly $5 million on a 4-month contract with KPMG to design this very restructure. Instead of drawing on the expertise of its own world-class academics, many of whom specialise in finance, strategy and organisational design, UTS has outsourced its future to a consultancy firm. A firm that, according to its own contract, was tasked not only with analysis but with crafting a compelling narrative to sell the plan. This is not transparency, this is spin. Mr President, revelations published in the Saturday paper are deeply troubling. They suggest that KPMG's recommendations were based on performance metrics, such as research income per academic, that are explicitly prohibited under the university's enterprise agreement as grounds for redundancy. A so-called master spreadsheet was compiled, identifying staff who allegedly failed to meet these expectations. This is not only ethically questionable, it may well be unlawful. And while KPMG's spreadsheets may be polished, they cannot capture the human cost of these decisions, the loss of institutional knowledge, the erosion of morale, the betrayal of trust. These are not just numbers on a balance sheet, they are people. People who are teaching our next generation of nurses, lawyers, doctors and professionals. People who are researching solutions to big issues such as artificial intelligence, climate change, clean energy and modern slavery. People who make sure that the university runs, course information is available and ethics proposals are submitted. And what of the cost to the core object and functions of the university? Under New South Wales legislation, the University of Technology Sydney Act 1989, functions of the university include the provision of courses of study or instruction across a range of fields and the carrying out of research to meet the needs of the community, and the provision of teaching and learning that engage with advanced knowledge and inquiry. But how can the university deliver these functions without their staff? One academic put it bluntly, at UTS we are already cheating the students and teaching them as cheaply as possible. Seminars with over 40 students, a proliferation of online classes, a growing disconnect between management KPIs and student satisfaction, promoted by bloated numbers of senior managers on unconscionably large salaries. The idea that we can cut deeper and still deliver quality education is not just flawed, it's dangerous. And what is the justification for this? According to internal documents, even without these drastic measures, UTS was projected to return to surplus by 2028. The proposed cuts merely accelerate the timeline by 2 years. So I ask, is this about financial sustainability, or is it about surplus generation at the expense of people? I understand that at a recent town hall meeting for staff addressed by management, the CFO referred on a number of occasions to profit rather than surplus and had to be corrected. And that says it all, really. We must also reflect on the role of university governance in this crisis. The UTS Council discussed a finance plan which included a reduced workforce, yet the assumptions underpinning the restructure were not shared with staff until forced into the open through freedom of information laws. This is not how a public institution should operate. We need governance that is accountable, transparent and inclusive, not reactive, opaque and top-down. This is not an isolated incident, and the Senate is currently conducting an inquiry into university governance. I urge this House to pay close attention to its findings and consider what we should be doing at a state level with the University Acts of Parliaments for which we are responsible. We must ask ourselves, how did we get to a point where universities spend tens of millions on consultants while cutting the very staff who teach our students and conduct our research? So where do we go from here? First, we must demand a halt to any redundancies based on unlawful or opaque performance metrics. Second, we must call for a full independent review of the KPMG contract and its influence on university decision-making. Third, we must insist that any future restructuring be led by those who understand the university best, its staff, its students and its academic leaders. We must reject the creeping corporatisation of our public universities, institutions that were never meant to be run like private enterprises, and instead we must reaffirm a commitment to the public purpose of the university as a community of learning, discovery and service.